So we start the process again the next morning. Started with mass in the Pauline Chapel. Yes, in the Pauline Chapel. Oh yeah, it was after breakfast, so we must have started quite early, I think, because you could walk over to the Sistine Chapel if you wanted to, around behind St. Peter's. They did have many vans for those who wanted to transport over there. So the first vote again that morning was pretty straightforward. There were no other things, just the vote the oath as you cast your votes. First one that morning, still no clear. Although I have to say, even by then, Cardinal Prevost's name was becoming. It's just interesting. We're hearing a name, so there was a second vote that morning, and his name gets a little bit more.
There's no chance during the voting to hear from some of these people that perhaps you didn't know. I know you've got a book there with candidates' bios in them, or each cardinal is in the book.
Every cardinal's in the book. So between votes, you can talk to others, of course. At lunchtime, you can talk to others.
Who's this Prevost guy?
Yeah.
Isn't he good? Yeah. What's been his history? Yeah.
So we're all given this book right at the beginning, which has a bio of all the cardinals, those voting cardinals under 80 and those over 80. Quite detailed, all in Italian. So you could look at, and there were a couple of other books too, but you start talking to people too.
Yes.
Even when I arrived there for the first of those meetings, I had met Cardinal Prevost very briefly when he became cardinal, just hello, and that was it. But I overheard two others talking, and one of them saying, and I've spoken with him since, one of them saying, we need to keep an eye on Cardinal Prevost. He's very calm. He doesn't get rattled. He speaks several languages. He's had great leadership and roles in the church. Oh, this is interesting. Yes. And so obviously many more were thinking that too, because his name came to the fore pretty quickly.
And the fact that you're praying the whole time,
all the time,
all these meetings must have, it's not by accident.
Like,
there's this sort of a guidance of
it's the guidance of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
It's just, the whole thing is immersed in prayer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That time, all those meetings, the masses of morning, even you're aware that very soon we're going to be starting, this process of electing. Then the mass for the election of the Pope, the morning we started.
Yes.
This prayer in the afternoon, Sistine Chapel, going into the Sistine Chapel. And it's immersed in prayer.
And people have got their spiritual antennae up.
Yeah.
Listening.
They are intense, very intense moments. But you just knew that everyone was asking for the guidance of the Holy Spirit.
And in the end, the process itself is reasonably short relative to other elections.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Well, so we did the vote on the Wednesday evening, 2 votes on the Thursday morning. Then the third vote on the Thursday afternoon, he was elected. The fourth vote. And one of the cars next to me, or in front of me, said, I feel cheated, it's over already.
Yeah, incredible.
But it was, really...
Tell us about that moment, because you must have had your big sheet tip, and suddenly someone had 2/3.
Everyone's keeping it. I was just putting ticks, but someone was obviously keeping the numbers as well. And the minute that he got to 88 off givers, the applause. And it was a great applause.
Yes.
Great applause. And I could see him. He was in a row in front of me. I could see side on. One stage I could see his hand come up to his head and go down. No, it was his name just come out. And so it was clear that he had the numbers. Cardinal Parolin called for people's attention, and he said that we need to finish the counting of the votes.
Oh, I see.
So that everything is
Give 133 or whatever.
yes, yeah. So it didn't take at that stage. I think there's probably about 115, 120 already counted. So there weren't too many more. As soon as it was clear that he had some even more votes, Cardinal Parolin walked over to him and said, "Do you accept election as Supreme Pontiff?" And straight away, in this clear voice, accepto. With a bit of not hesitation,
Emotion.
emotion.
Yes.
Yeah. And everyone welcomed her. It was just powerful to experience that. And then we was asked what name, Leo, and again, people made immediate connections with Reverend Varham, Leo XIII, all that. There was a time the Vatican officials were called in. They have all the decrees all ready. All they need to do is put in the name and the date.
Yes.
And so that was all done.
And what about the rain? They have a.
No, there's not given to them until a bit later, actually.
I know there's about three sizes of
Club up. That's right, yes. Yeah. No, the ring's not actually given to him until the inauguration mass.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah. But then he was taken out. I think it was Cardinal Tagle went with him to the room they call the Room of Tears. And he was away quite a while, which gave the rest of us an opportunity to pick up all these papers, hand them to the officials, and the white smoke went up while we were still in the Sistine Chapel. When he came back, dressed in white, they'd already moved the tables they'd used, and the tables they'd used, and the chair, Cardinal Parolin put on one of those white papal chairs there, and he came straight to that. And again, there was a time of prayer. The number of times that we heard the gospel, but who do you say I am? You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. You are Peter. We've heard that gospel so many times, but it was just obvious it was appropriate.
Yeah, of course.
And then we all had the opportunity to come up and meet him and sort of pay his respect to.
Yes.
That went on for quite a while. And by this time, of course, the white smoke had gone up. We couldn't hear anything from the square. But I suppose it was probably close to 6 o'clock in the evening, and there'd been the first vote of that afternoon that he was elected. He was ready to go up and out onto the balcony, so we were just asked to follow him into what's known as the Hall of Benediction, which is a very big, long hall which overlooks St. Peter's Square.
And that's where you were when you went into that ball?
Yes. Yeah. So we all went into the Hall of Benediction. They waited for a little while for him just to get settled in. And then they opened the doors that go out onto the balconies, and we were able to go out and wait. And then he was brought out.
What a moment.
And the square was just packed. Thousands of people. And you could still see them flocking into the square.
Yes.
It was a really, really powerful moment. And of course, his first words, "Peace be with you." And that's been a strong plea or a wish that he's repeated many times and will continue, I suppose.